The iPhone 8 announcement is happening tomorrow, so just one more day left until this thing is unveiled. And Apple has done it again. So remember that HomePod firmware leak, which happened a few weeks ago? That one actually showed us a lot of details regarding the iPhone 8. So Apple now had a second big leak over this weekend. So they actually made the iOS 11 GM or Goldmaster public for a pretty short period of time, after which they, by the way, stopped signing it. And a few developers actually got their hands on it, and in iOS 11 GM there were a ton of details regarding everything that Apple is going to announce tomorrow. So iPhone 8, iPhone X, iPhone 8 Plus, the new Apple Watch Series 3, the new second generation AirPods, the new Apple TV, and so much more. So grab some snacks, because this is going to be a really interesting video with so many things that I want to cover. So yeah, enjoy. Okay, so first off, we actually have the final name for the iPhone 8 confirmed. So no, it's not going to be called the iPhone 8. So developer Steve TS, he actually found the actual name for the iPhone 8 hinted in the iOS 11 GM. And here you go, iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus, and iPhone X. So this means that the iPhone 7Ss will be called the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus, which actually makes a lot of sense. Because if they were both called the iPhone 7S and then you had the iPhone 8, who would actually pick the iPhone 7S over the iPhone 8? So the iPhone 7S would obviously feel like an inferior product. And then the iPhone 8, so this one, that major redesign, this would actually be called the iPhone X. Again, this also makes a lot more sense than calling it the iPhone Edition or the iPhone Pro. Seems like my iPhone 8 prediction that I made back in the first episode of my Leaks and Rumors series for the iPhone 8 back in August 2016 is going to come true. Or they might just call it the iPhone X and then X1 and so on. And then we also have some new wallpapers, finally. So we actually have 16 new wallpapers in iOS 11 GM, finally. So these were actually found by 9to5Mac. And as you can see, we get a lot of them. And we also get a lot of black wallpapers that would actually look amazing on an OLED display, which is what the new iPhone X is going to come with, by the way. And then the Apple Watch Series 3 was also leaked in iOS 11 GM. So in the Apple Watch app, we can actually see an image of a brand new Apple Watch with exactly the same design as the Series 2. However, we do have a red crown, which is pretty interesting. And besides this, we also have a phone and the location complication on the watch face. Haha, location complication. But as you probably know, the Apple Watch Series 3 is coming with cellular support. So that's the main feature of the Apple Watch Series 3, which means that you'll be finally able to use your Apple Watch without an internet connection. So you no longer need to take your iPhone with you. And then besides this, 9to5Mac has also discovered a few more details regarding the Apple Watch Series 3. So for example, it would actually use the same phone number as your iPhone, which is pretty cool. And some carriers would actually give you free access to this. Some would make you pay for this, but yeah, most of them are going to give you free access, which is again a pretty cool thing. Then we also have two new color options that were discovered in iOS 11 GM for the Apple Watch. So ceramic gray and aluminum blush gold. Now a ceramic gray Apple Watch would just look sick, much better than the white one, in my opinion at least. Obviously a black one, black ceramic would look even more amazing. And then we also have aluminum blush gold, which would be the second color, which basically confirms the blush gold color for the iPhone. Now, speaking of the Apple Watch Series 3, in case you want to know more, in case you want to know everything actually we're expecting to see tomorrow, check out my final leaks and rumors on the Apple Watch Series 3. But now, going back to the iPhone X, developer Guilherme Rambo has found the Face ID enrollment process in iOS 11 GM. So apparently in settings, you now have Face ID and passcode instead of Touch ID and passcode like you had before. Now this basically confirms that Apple will indeed remove Face ID entirely from the iPhone X. Then if you tap on Enroll Face, you would get this animated face that shows you how to move your face for the 3D scanning to work. And then finally you have this menu which basically tells you to gently move your head to complete a circle. And that's pretty much it. So a very easy process to set up, I would say, even easier than Touch ID to be honest. And then the design of the iPhone X has been again confirmed in multiple images and icons found in iOS 11 GM. So again, Apple doesn't seem to be ashamed of that sensor bar on the top. So it won't be hidden by a black OLED bar. And speaking of the sensor bar, developer Guilherme Rambo he found this animation when you connect the iPhone X to power, so to charge it. So you can see the time always on the left-hand side, like we've seen in the previous concepts. And then on the right-hand side, this one actually changes automatically based on what you're doing. So pretty similar to how it works on the Apple Watch. Now, usually you have the battery, the Wi-Fi, and the cellular signal there on the right-hand side, along with the time and the location indicator on the left-hand side. And then developer Steve TS, he also posted a few more updates on how the sensor bar would actually work. So it seems that you might be able to tap on one side to display the remaining icons. And then when you do an action such as plugging your iPhone in, the battery icon would actually zoom in. Now, same applies to when you're making calls. It seems like you would actually have the call time in the left side. So yeah, the sensor bar would actually be interactive. And then there's also a tiny little dot there, which looks a bit interesting. So I'm not exactly sure what this would be, but I'm guessing that it's an indicator for when you have, missed icons or icons that are actually hidden. So when you tap on that side, I'm guessing that it will show you the remaining icons. And then the video recording options and file sizes have now been updated in iOS 11 GM. So previously they were exactly the same on the iPhone 8 or the iPhone X as before on the iPhone 7. But now we have 1080p HD at 240 frames per second, which actually occupies 480 megabytes. And then 4K at 24 and 4K at 24 HEVC, which actually occupies 135 megabytes. And then 4K at 60 is again confirmed, and it normally occupies 400 megabytes if you record in HEVC. Pretty much every recording will be in HEVC unless you export or send that to a different person, then it's gonna be converted to H.264. Now, speaking of the camera, we have some new interesting updates here as well. So developer Steve TS, he actually confirms some more camera updates. So more specifically, the front-facing camera would still be a 7 megapixel sensor, not a 9 or 12 like we previously believed. So capable of recording 1080p 30 frames per second instead of 4K 60 like we previously believed. We also have the resolution of the IR camera, which is actually much lower than I expected. And this is a bit surprising, especially since it basically contradicts the previous leak that we've had in the HomePod firmware. So the one in which we've seen both the front and the back-facing camera capable of recording 4K at 60 frames per second. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this leak? Do you think the lack of 4K 60 frames per second on the front-facing camera is going to be an issue for you, or more specifically, the lack of an improved front-facing camera? So still the same resolution, 7 megapixels, as on the iPhone 7. Again, this is not 100% confirmed, but it might just be. So what do you guys think about this? And then KGI reports that the iPhone X would only come in a black front. So even though we basically have 3 colors on the iPhone X, so black, silver, and also that really cool new looking blush gold color, all of them will come with a black front. Now, I did show you a white iPhone 8 model a few weeks ago, and this one actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look as bad as you would expect. However, a black front is obviously much easier to blend in since you have an OLED display, and then since you have an OLED display, you can turn off individual pixels when you wish, and it will just blend in so much better with a black bezel. And something really interesting and funny when it comes to the iPhone X is animated emojis. So take a look at these. These were actually found, they were found by developer Steve TS and also 9to5Mac. And apparently these would actually be a pretty big deal for the iPhone X. So apparently they would actually interact with your face and your voice. And this would actually be really, really cool. Basically being able to send animated emojis based on your actual facial expression. And yes, you will be able to send an animated poo. That would basically mimic your gestures, your facial expressions. And same goes for a unicorn, robot, and so many more. Definitely one of my favorite upcoming features in the iPhone X. What do you guys think? And then apart from this, wireless charging was confirmed once again in iOS 11 GM. And then we also had a couple of pretty big updates when it comes to the power button. So apparently it won't actually be called a power button anymore, but a side button instead. So I've actually done a separate video just on how the home button on the iPhone 8 would work, and also the power button. So in case you want to know more about those two things, check out this video. The link for this is in the description down below as well. But yeah, basically the power button would actually allow you to switch to launch Siri and the camera as well. So I'm guessing that turning the iPhone X off would now be done by a different gesture. So something like double tapping and holding on the power button. So what do you guys think about gestures on the power button? I think, especially when it comes to launching the camera or holding to activate Siri, I think these would actually be more useful than, only having the turn off or turn on gesture. And a few more reports by KGI and findings in iOS 11 GM. Both of these have actually confirmed the iPhone X is going to come with 3 GB of RAM indeed. So same as with the iPhone 8 Plus, 3 GB of RAM, and then on the iPhone 8 we would have 2 GB of RAM. So the iPhone 8 was previously known as the iPhone 7S, so the 4.7 inches 2017 iPhone. Yeah, this would come with 2 GB of RAM and no dual camera module. And then Steve TS, he actually found a few more updates on the Apple A11 processor. So this is actually going to be a 6-core processor, so made out of 2 high-performance cores and 4 low-performance cores, and apparently all of them would be independently addressable. So what this means is that Geekbench will finally see a 6-core processor instead of a dual-core one. And this also means that the multi-core score would be even higher than we initially expected, because it's not a 4-core processor. Now Geekbench will see a 6-core processor and actually run the test on all 6 cores. So yeah, the Apple A11 is going to be a monster. And then finally, we also have some updates on the Apple TV 5th generation and also the 2nd generation Apple AirPods. Okay, so first off, developer Steve TS, he found that the 5th generation Apple TV, also known as, the 4K Apple TV, it would not only support 4K in pretty much all HDR standards, such as HDR10 and True Dolby Vision, but it will also come with not the Apple A9 chip, not the Apple A10 chip, but the Apple A10X processor. Yeah, pretty much the same processor found in the 2017 iPad Pros. 3 GB of RAM, by the way, as well. This is crazy because the iPad Pros, Apple compares them to actual laptop computers, even more powerful than most laptop computers. So this basically means that Apple wants to turn the new Apple TV 5th generation into some sort of game console. So maybe a competitor to the Nintendo Switch, even though it's already more powerful than the Nintendo Switch. I mean, even the iPhone 6s is more powerful than a Nintendo Switch, by the way. Now, when it comes to the display of the iPhone 8, we have a few more updates here as well. So the resolution is going to be 2436 by 1125, which would actually translate to a PPI of 462. So yeah, no 581 or 550 or 530 like we previously believed. Now, a True Tone display was mentioned in iOS 11 GM, but there was no mention of a ProMotion display. So apparently no 120 Hz display. This is apparently not happening anymore, or at least we haven't seen any mention of this, just a True Tone display. And by the way, in case you don't know what a True Tone display is, we've first seen this on the 1st generation iPad Pros, the 9.7-inch one at least. This is a feature that allows its display, the iPhone's display or the iPad's display, to adjust its color temperature based on the current lighting conditions, which is pretty useful in some cases, but obviously a ProMotion display would be so much more useful. And then finally, there's a new pairing screen for the AirPods that actually shows a 2nd generation Apple AirPods, or at least a slightly tweaked version. So the only difference that I can see is the new charging light indicator, which is now on the outside of the case rather than on the inside of the case. And apart from this, the codename for these AirPods in iOS 11 GM is AirPods 1.2 versus AirPods 1.1, which would be the original model. So yeah, we might just see some improved AirPods being launched alongside the iPhone X tomorrow. So there we go, lots of stuff that I wanted to cover. I just wanted to give you a quick update on all the massive leaks that we've had over the weekend. And that's about it. I'm really excited for tomorrow's event. So yeah, I'm guessing you are too if you're watching this video. But yeah, this has been pretty much it. Can't believe that the series, the Leaks and Rumor series for the iPhone 8 has come to an end. So yeah, feel free to subscribe if you want to see more in the videos like this one. I have a lot of interesting stuff coming out this week. And also don't forget to enable notifications on my channel so that you're notified whenever I upload a brand new epic video. Now, in case you want to know more about everything we expect to see at tomorrow's event, check out my Apple event, 2017 Apple event, Everything to Expect. Other than that, if you have enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like to let me know. And yeah, this has been pretty much it. Let me know in the comments if you're epic enough to make it until the end of this video, and what are you most excited to see tomorrow at the Apple event. Is it the Apple Watch Series 3, the iPhone 8, the iPhone X, or the new 4K HDR Apple TV? Thank you for watching until the end. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So yeah, Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.